All right, so welcome to the Modern Monk podcast. This is episode number 1, the very beginning. I'm joined with Mr. Toby Chilver. What are you, a 12-time marathon runner, 10-time marathon runner?
I think 11 right now. 10 month 10 of the year plus 1 December last year.
Yeah, serious athlete. So we are starting the first ever episode, and I think there is no better way to start than to talk about environment. So we're going to discuss everything to do with creating a great environment. I think that it goes without saying that creating the best possible environment is going to be the catalyst for change. So let's get it started, dude. Let's start with question number 1 we have, which is, why is environment so important?
I mean, yeah, you started saying it there. Like, I truly believe it's the foundation that allows you to build anything great. Like, your environment is such a huge part of who you are, what you do, and what you're interacting with. Like, it's always there. So, like, the things that come to mind, we talk about, you fall to your standards that you set for yourself. And that, like, includes what's available to you in your environment. So, like, if you're creating an environment where the things that are easily within reach are things that you don't really want to do, or things that you wouldn't want your future self to do, then there's going to be moments where you fall to that level where you're just going to take what's available to you.
Yeah.
Like, recently, I think the biggest example of this in my life has been like food. If there's ever something that's super tasty but unhealthy on offer, even though I know I have prepared other food that's better for me and will be just as filling, I'm probably still going to take the more unhealthy food just because it's available in those moments of like low motivation.
Right. Yeah, I get you. And you talked about specifically your standards. I think that's a pretty important point to touch on, because we're nearly in November this year, and I'm sure we had big goals we set for ourselves, and we probably set them when we had a lot of motivation. But as we know, the year goes by and we don't always have the motivation. So how have you noticed your behavior changing over the course of the year, even though your standards have changed? So how have you dealt in low motivation moments, and how have the actions that you've done this year changed from what you would have done in previous years?
Yeah, no, that's so true. I mean, I think naturally, like, you're coming to this point of time near end of the year where you start setting big goals. Like, people, at the end of the year, you're always going to start setting big goals for the next year. It's just a thing that people do, and like I'm included in that. And so then there's initially this big discrepancy between the goal that you have and like the behavior that's required for that and where you are right now.
Yeah.
And I think what the environment can do is help you build the stepping stones so that it feels like little baby steps to get there.
Yeah.
So you start off small. Like, for me, not charging my phone in my room, like, it's tiny thing in the grand scheme of like life. Like, and it's just made such a huge impact, and things like this just stack on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I really think that the environment can be like the catalyst that allows like the stacking to really compound.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are set and forgets, and because you interact so much with your environment.
Yeah.
You can really feel that like compounding effect. And that's kind of what I felt this year is, as you set this big ambitious goal, you can feel it's more like tangible, the progress you're making towards it, when it's part of your environment and you're interacting with it, because you notice changes in your environment. If there was suddenly like a new plant in your room that just appeared there, there's no way you wouldn't notice that. So it's kind of like that. It's directly there. It's like immediate feedback, and it's also this thing that stacks and compounds upon each other.
Yeah, and I like what you said with the set and forget thing, and that's what I think's so good about environment, especially when it comes to behavioral change. Like, if you're trying to genuinely change a behavior about yourself, like, a lot of the time we say, for example, I'm trying to get rid of scrolling. Let me just say, okay, I'm not going to scroll anymore, and just use all my willpower. But there's probably a few things that you can do to just change your environment. Just do it once, and then actually doing a behavior that you don't want to do is so much harder. It's so much easier to make behavioral change when you can do 1 or 2 things that you set and forget, and it can completely change the environment itself. So, like, for example, simply for me, just removing my home screen, just like removing every app on my home screen. It's like I no longer have 50 billboards telling me where to go. Like that took me one action. It was just removing everything from my home screen. But now when I open my phone, I don't have billboards telling me where to go. I can be more proactive when I'm on my phone. And it's very much like a set and forget thing. And that's why I think the environment is so high leverage, because you can do an action once and it can have downstream effects for such a long period of time. So I think, yeah, environment, it has to be super important, especially for that set and forget factor.
Yeah, I mean, has it always been important to you, or do you think there's something that you've realized?
No. It has to have been over time. I think for a lot of people who are trying to make big changes in their life, a lot of the time it comes from like a big pain that you currently have, or a big goal you're working towards, likely both. Yeah. And for some people, if the pain is big enough, then you can kind of endure a lot without actually creating the right environments. But for most people, when you're slightly comfortable, this is when the environment makes a big difference, because you don't have that sort of big driving force that's behind you all the time. So like, I think for me, especially in the early days, I just had a big driving force, which allowed me to get away with not creating good environments. But
yeah,
I think everyone has bad days, right?
Yeah.
And as you say, you fall to your standards.
Yeah, the fuel only lasts for so long. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll have those ups and downs over the course of the year. But what are your standards?
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I think it's important to know how to make a good environment.
Right.
So
right.
Tell me, if you had to do it from scratch, what are you doing?
How do we create a good environment? Like, I think the fundamentals is, how do we make the behaviors that we're trying to do easy, and how do we make the behaviors that we're trying to not do hard? It's the whole idea of playing with friction. Like, I want to create as much friction as possible between me and doing a behavior I'm not supposed to do, and create the least amount of friction between me and a behavior that I'm trying to do. So like, if you say to me right now, I would be the most jacked person on earth, but I just can't stop eating cookies. And I just locked you in a room and I said, you cannot leave this room. You physically cannot leave, and there's not a single cookie in there. I don't care how much you want to eat a cookie. I don't care if you have all the motivation in the world to eat a cookie. You just physically can't do it.
Yeah.
Right? But then on the other hand, if I locked you in a room and you said, right, I'm not going to eat any cookies, but that room's full of cookies, you're only going to last so long.
Yeah.
Like it only lasts a certain amount of time. And if you can play with friction in a way that, how can I make it almost impossible to do behaviors that I don't want to do, and very, very easy to do behaviors I want to do? I think that's the fundamentals for creating the good environment. That is what fundamentally makes a good environment.
No, I love that idea of, you have your goal and then you figure out what behaviors do you need to get to that goal. Yeah. And you just craft the environment that makes those behaviors as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Like when you lay it out like that, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is the case, right? Like what behaviors right now are we really trying to avoid doing? I think for most of us, like, no one can honestly look me in the eye and say, I want to scroll more. Yeah. I wish I spent more time scrolling.
Words no one has said.
Yeah. I wish I could scroll more. So it's like, okay, I want to spend less time scrolling. It's like, all right, well, if you didn't have any apps on your phone that you could scroll on, do you think it would be easier or harder for you to scroll? It's like, it would probably be harder for me to scroll. It's like, okay, if I set something in place so that even if you did re-download that app, you still couldn't access it, would it be easier or harder for you to scroll? Okay, I guess it would be harder. It's like, how many layers of prevention can I put in place? How many layers of friction can I put in there so it is almost impossible to do these behaviors I don't want to do? I think this is the best way to get started with removing anything from your life, because I think long term the goal is to change your beliefs around something, change your personal identity, because that allows you to have long-term change without requiring a physical restriction, a physical prevention in place. Yeah. But I think at the start, this is the big thing.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree. And like what comes to mind for me is kind of the next stage of that, I think, which is, once you've created a lot of friction from the bad behaviors, have an environment that reminds you of why you want to do these good behaviors in the first place. Like we talk about, there's no such thing as a what that's too big. Like a goal can't be too big. Your why just might not be big enough for the size of the goal.
Yep.
And so if you can get really clear on your why. I think not a lot of people are clear on why they set the goals that they do.
Yep.
But once you're clear, if you have reminders in your environment that are telling you, this is why it's important to you. Like this is why you want to do this. Because
Yep.
when you're sitting there with a plate of broccoli, or you see your book and your phone on the bedside table,
Yeah.
you're not thinking, oh yeah, that goal that I set 3 months ago that like fulfills me to make progress towards. Oh yeah, I'm going to choose the book. I'm going to choose the broccoli.
Yep.
You're not thinking that. No one is.
Yeah.
So the more you can have an environment that just reminds you of the why behind everything, I think that's when you can, I think, achieve consistent, or helps you achieve consistency in the long run.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you can chip down at the friction between things. You can slowly get back into bad habits.
Yep.
But I think what makes that even harder is if you're reminded of the why on the other side.
Okay, so that kind of links to when I was speaking earlier about the beliefs and the identity you have. I think the having the constant reminder of the why sort of reinforces your beliefs, reinforces your identity, and gives you that long-term shift. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's a really good way of long-term creating behavioral change without the requirement for as much friction. Yeah. Okay. I like that. All right. Well, good question here. How important are the people that you surround yourself with?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about such like fundamentally huge ideas, concepts here that I feel like can have such a huge impact. And like this one has to be like top 3, like just of all time. Like there's a saying that show me who your friends are and I'll show you what your future is. And I truly believe that to be a very accurate indicator of someone's trajectory.
Yeah.
Who you surround yourself with is a reflection of who you are.
Yep.
Mostly because we mirror what's around us. And I don't think people pay enough attention or think of their group of friends as a representation of themselves.
Yep.
But there's a question that kind of came up recently, that if you pictured yourself having to attend a dinner party filled with all your idols, people you respect, people that you wanted to show your best self to, and then suddenly you can't attend and you have to send one of your friends. That's a great frame to think about who really are your friends, and who best represent you. And if no one comes to mind, that's probably an indicator that you're hanging around people that don't have the same maybe goals as you, or aren't supporting you in a way that you want to progress, and they're not reflecting the way you see yourself or the way you want to see yourself.
Yeah.
Which I think is an important realization that a lot of people that are on a journey of personal growth have to go through. Do
you reckon, let's say 3 to 5 years ago, do you think that you could honestly say that there was a person in your life that could attend a dinner in your place and accurately represent you?
Yeah, well, 3 or 5 years ago, there probably was a person who could reflect pretty well who I was then.
Right. Okay.
And I think now the same.
Yeah.
But if there's no one I knew 3 years ago that would be a good representation of who I am today. And I think the fact that the people that I spend my time with 3 years ago and today are different, only goes to prove the point that who you surround yourself is a good indicator of your progression, your identity, your goals, everything.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I think it is just so fundamentally so important. I mean, you see people make big changes, and a lot of the time it comes from the people that they surround themselves with. And if it doesn't, one of the things I've noticed is it comes from an extreme strength of character to break through an environment where everyone around you is so different to you, and you say, you know what, this is not who I want to be. I want to be a different person. And you have to say, despite who I surround myself with, I'm going to become a different person. I think it just it requires so much of a strength of character. I mean, you talk about friction, like that is one of the toughest environments to put yourself through, to try and create growth, even though everything around you does not represent who you want to become. Like you need to become so much stronger than you would otherwise be, because we always have this tendency to the regression towards the mean, to becoming like everyone else. It's like it's a constant state that we're in, and you have to actively fight against it if you don't have the environment that you currently want in terms of the people you surround yourself with. And if that means you have to spend less time with other people, then that might have to be the case. Like one of the questions I've been having recently is, well, when I surround myself with certain people, am I a better version of myself or a worse version of myself than when I'm by myself? And I think there's certain groups of people that I'm with where I become a worse version of myself than I would be when I'm just left to my own accord. And there's some people where I become a better version of myself than I would be when I'm left to my own accord. And I think the question you have to ask yourself is, what bucket are you in right now? Like, are the people around you pulling you down or pulling you up? Of course, you want to try and get to the bucket where you're pulling you up, but if you don't have that right now, it might be a time where you just have to spend a bit of time by yourself, because it's either that or you have to have such a strength of character that you defy everything around you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is a popular topic that I'm sure lots of people have heard of, is like the lonely chapter.
yeah,
You know, you start reading books, you get interested in personal development, or you're just going through any kind of period of growth.
yeah,
And you feel like you're outgrowing the people that you hang out with. Maybe your behaviors are changing slightly. The things you do, they're not aligned.
yeah,
But you don't have the accolades, the anything to go and hang out with the people who you idolize and who you think do match those goals, those aspirations.
yeah,
And so, it's the lonely chapter, and you're by yourself a little bit more. And I think one thing that I was pondering when we were talking about this was, it's called a lonely chapter. It's not called a lonely life,
yeah,
because you always end up finding people,
yeah,
and no one goes alone forever.
yeah,
We need people. You're gonna need to lean on people. People are gonna lean on you, and you're gonna want that. So it's not this thing of like, I can be the solo entrepreneur, lone wolf for the rest of time because no one else can do what I do or thinks the way I think.
Right.
Like, you have to stay open to supporting people and people supporting you.
yep,
And yeah, I think there's a reason that it's the lonely chapter, and that you do move on and find people who you align with, and they become your people.
100%. And one of the things I think about this is, when you're taking the action, when you're changing as a person, there's often a lag between where you are right now and where you're going to be. And it's usually 6 months or a year. But you think that you've made all this growth and progress, and you probably have, but it probably takes 6 months to a year to materialize.
Yeah.
So if you think, well, no one around me represents who I am, it's because your results haven't caught up to the person that you've become. So you need that time to actually crystallize what you've done, the growth you've made. At that point, then you can start expanding your circle, expanding the people you're around. But there's always going to be a lag. And if you think, well, I must be doing something wrong, it's not necessarily the case. It's just that the results haven't caught up to who you've become as a person. I think it's like an important thing to note.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right.
We've got to keep moving here.
What is the problem with motivation?
Yeah. Well, what I got written down here is that it's like drinking Red Bull. That's what came to mind. When I think about motivation, I think about spikes and crashes.
Yeah.
Like, I can reflect pretty clearly on the past 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. And there are defined periods of extreme motivation,
Yeah.
which were followed by, immense progress and action and new ideas and all this.
Yeah.
And then they're always followed by a period of complete lack of motivation.
The hangover.
in which the opposite comes true.
Yeah.
And I think that is the problem with motivation. If you are trying to change your identity, work towards big goals, have anything progress over a time period that's more than a couple of months,
Yeah.
you need consistency,
Yeah.
and therefore you cannot rely on motivation.
100% agree. Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, motivation is an emotion. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with motivation in of itself. I think the problem is relying on it.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be the last thing that you possibly rely on to get anything done. Because as you say, big goals require time. depends how big your goals are, but realistically, are you going to have a period of motivation that lasts more than a few months? Probably not. Are you going to have a goal sizable enough that takes you less than 2 months to complete? Probably not as well. And the only guarantee is that you're not always going to have motivation. There's going to be peaks and troughs, but where do you fall? Like, what is the level of your standards? Because motivation is not going to be the answer long term. Like, it has to be supported. There has to be a foundation of some sort of environment that makes it really easy to do good behaviors, really hard to do difficult behaviors, people around you that are pushing you towards the goals you want to have. But I think it's just, you cannot rely on motivation. It is an emotion and it cannot be relied upon. I think.
And like we're talking about kind of long-term, bigger kind of goals here.
Yeah.
And as you start working towards them, you start achieving some of these things, you get a taste of that success, which is really nice. But sometimes that just wipes your motivation. Like we talk about, you know, there's the cat behind the rat in the tube and the cheese in front of the rat in the tube.
Yeah.
And both of them are helping the rat run really fast. If you start achieving, and that's motivation, right? Like the cat is motivating the rat to run, the cheese is also motivating the cat to run.
Yeah.
If you start making progress, sometimes that cat gets a little bit smaller. Sometimes the cheese doesn't smell quite as good. You're not as desperate. You're not as hungry as you were when you set the goal, when you had all that motivation. And so then the motivation is not there anymore. Or like you don't find yourself feeling the same way about the goal, not driven by the same fuel as you were.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get stuck at that point where they've been like relying on this fuel for long enough that they've seen some success.
Yeah.
And now they've got this link between, okay, well, I was fueled by that and I've got this success. Okay, I'll do it again, or like, let's run it back. And they pick a new goal or something, but I just don't think that's the right way to go about it. I think that consistency over long periods of time, motivations are going to change and they can't be relied upon. I think like we just keep coming back to that. They can't be relied upon, and what can is your environment.
Yeah. 100% agree. All right, so environment is clearly the answer.
And motivation's out.
Motivation is out.
We're calling it here. Motivation is out.
Motivation is out. Okay, so how have we been changing our environments to change our behaviors?
I mean, we could be here for hours.
Yeah. We'll do the TLDR on this one.
Yeah. Okay, a personal one for me first is where I charge my phone.
Yeah.
Like if I think about the one thing that takes the most from my life, it's my phone.
Yeah.
And if I think about the times of day and the environments where I'm at my weakest, it is right before bed and right when I wake up. It's before the mental cognition is fully in gear. It's everyone. I think everyone feels it. The moments of weakness. It gets
fight or flight's in.
And so not having your phone within reach, having it, you know, I have it out in the living room, and this sounds so stupid because this is the stuff that like my mum and dad were telling me to do when I was like 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
And you were sneaking off with your phone to the bedroom to play games.
Oh yeah.
They were like, no, phone goes in the living room.
Yep.
Of course they were right.
Yeah. We won't admit it, but yes.
But yeah, just changing where you charge your phone. It's limiting your access. It's creating friction.
Yeah.
And having a good start to the morning and a good end to the day.
Big.
Pretty big. Big.
Yeah. And we're big on our sleep as well. Like both of us optimize that a lot, and that is certainly going to improve your sleep. 100%. And like the cortisol levels when you wake up super high. You're in fight or flight. You're just a complete chimp in the morning. So what do chimps do? Well, they do what chimps do, and they're going to grab the phone if it's there.
100%.
So yeah, I think you're right. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Having the phone out of the environment. Yep.
The other big one for me.
Yep.
Having what we were calling it before, my whiteboard. Visualizing my goals and my progress and having it in my bedroom. So I have like a whiteboard that sits at the end of my bed, like glued to like stuck to the wall.
Yep.
And it has my goals kind of written there and like all my progress trackers in marker. And again, it's the first thing I see when I wake up. It's the thing I look at when I go to bed. Yep. If I ever can't sleep, like it's just there to ponder on. And having that visual reminder in your environment, reminding you of your why, just strengthens that relationship to the good behaviors that you're doing and reinforces the friction from the bad behaviors.
I love the fact that you tie, like your whiteboard is so tied to practical tasks that you have to do, physical behaviors that are going to get you to the goal. Because at the end of the day, you can't be wishy-washy about it. Like, it has to be like, I do these things. And like, I love setting this equation. Like, can you set yourself an equation? If you have a goal, if I do these behaviors, it would be unlikely, it would be unreasonable that I don't achieve my goal.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can set yourself that equation and you honestly believe it, then you just need to do those actions and don't listen to anything else. Just do that. I think like that's what you have with your why board is you have the actions and you have the goal.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, especially in the beginning, struggle with putting things into action, like just getting the ball rolling, actions. Like a lot of people, they have enough content fueling ideas, fueling wants and needs, and they just don't have the action that gets them there. So the why board's big. Huge. I got a few more here, but you hit me with some of yours. Yeah, well, my one, like, I think we have to hit on the phone again. Like, let's be honest, most of us are spending the majority of our day on our phone. Yeah. Or at least this is where we're at our moments of weakness. This is where we generally control our behaviors the worst, I think. So, like, for me, black and white phone, you also have this set up. Yep. So having your phone set in black and white, having nothing on my home screen, so I have to be proactive when I go on my phone. That's another big one. Yeah. Just having a phone that is very, very difficult. There's a lot of friction in place to do activities that I don't want to do. Like, I don't have any apps that I don't want to use on my phone. It's all hard to use. I have app blocks in place. So if I do have apps that I need on my phone, like for group chats or stuff, I can only access at certain times of the day. Other things, notifications, not having notifications on my phone. So big. Yeah, huge. So big. I see notifications like your phone screaming at you like a baby, asking for your attention. Like, I need my nappy changed. You know, it's like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And what people have notifications on their phone for, it's just the most ridiculous things. Yeah. Like, a notification for an email is so dumb. And like, and it gets worse than that. Like, notifications for group chats, not gonna be great either. But a lot of us have, you know, like notifications for games on our phone. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Why does your phone need to remind you to do something you're not supposed to do? Yeah, it is so true. And I think people, it's just like a default. Like, the default is all notifications. I need to know. I need to be in the know about every little thing. Yeah. And like, kind of like a FOMO thing. Like, you don't want to have, you don't want to miss out on anything. Yeah. So I think like detaching yourself a little bit from that definitely helps start the ball rolling. But no notifications, black and white phone. Big one. Clear the home screen, delete the apps, or restrict the ones if you need them. Massive. A huge. Other big one, environmental wise, I think you probably have the same thing, is food. Like, I have goals related to, you know, getting jacked, related to getting healthy, like, you know, running the marathons, stuff like this. You're running the marathons as well. Yeah. We want to have good nutrition in place. Yeah. And a lot of the times people have excuses for not eating well, and that is that they don't have the time to do it. So for me, I've now cooked 2 months worth of food for basically everything. Like, I don't have to cook until the end of the year, essentially. So now the easiest thing for me to do is eat healthy. And like, if the easiest thing for you to do is eat healthy, then you're just gonna eat healthy. Yeah. Like, you're gonna default to the easy stuff. Yeah, the path of least resistance. You created that path being the health, the food that you want to eat. Like, if you want your future self to eat. Yeah. Yeah. No, such an unlock there. Yeah. I mean, like, you had the protein bar the other day. Like, that's a good one. Just right before bed, you can have that. Right. I got my rice, which has got all the micronutrients in the world. That's just my base for everything now. Just super easy. So food for sure. Yeah. That is it in terms of environment. All right. Let's move to final question. Okay. Tell me 3 things that I could do right now to improve my environment. Okay. 3 actionable things I could do right now. Okay. So first of all, the environment, as I said, as the base, has to be something that makes it easy to do things that you want to do and hard to do things that you don't want to do. So we need to identify what are the things that we want to do. And to identify that, you have to identify what are your goals. Like, if you don't know what your goals are, then what are you setting your environment for? So like, fundamentally, you have to figure out, okay, what is my goal? What is my one goal, or, you know, up to 3 goals, whatever it is. I wouldn't set too many goals. Like, keep yourself relatively focused on a few things, but what is the goal? Like, if you have to know what the goal is. Okay, starting with the goal. Yeah. So when you know what the goal is, the second thing we need to do is figure out what are the actions. What are the 3 actions that makes it
very, very likely that I'll hit my goal. You can set yourself the equation. If I do these 3 behaviors on a consistent basis, then it would be unlikely, it would be unreasonable that I don't hit my goal. What are those 3 behaviors? And then what are the 3 behaviors that make it very likely that if I continue to do these, I will not hit my goal? Because then you know, what do I have to do and what do I have to not do? That is the second thing. And then the third thing is, how do I make my environment such that it is incredibly easy to do the things that I'm supposed to do, those 3 things I'm supposed to do, and how is it incredibly hard to do the things that I'm not supposed to do? I think that is fundamentally how you create a good environment, no matter what it is you're trying to do. That is the core of what creates a good environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. So you set your goal.
Yeah.
You pick your 3 things that are moving you towards it.
Yeah.
The 3 biggest things that are taking you away from it.
Yeah.
You add friction to what's taking you away from it, and you add lubricant to what's moving you towards it. I do think that's fair.
That's
fair
it.
Summary.
That is a perfect summary.
Okay.
That is a perfect summary. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's That's the advice that I wish I could give myself.
Yeah.
Any amount of time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's good to be able to quantify it like that. I think when we think about things, it's how can we make this as how can we bring what we're talking about into specific actions? Because a lot of us receive a huge amount of input, a lot of information, but it's like you then have to take that information and extract action out of it. Because if you do not take action on the information you're getting, then you haven't really learned anything.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't change behavior, there's no learning here. So I think it's really important to be able to tie whatever you're doing to specific actions. I think no matter what you're trying to accomplish, I think that is how you create the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an important flow coming from big picture, what's your goal?
Yeah.
What are your actions that are going to achieve that goal? And then you're bringing it really into reality when you craft the environment.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're interacting with day to day. Like your goal is just something you said to yourself that exists in your head. Then like the actions, they're like the future. They're not quite reality. It's like things you know you need to do. They're kind of giving you direction. It's kind of like in that liminal space. And then it's like, okay, no, but your environment is like, okay, what am I physically doing?
Yeah.
To make those actions possible. Yeah, no, I love it. It really brings it from like down the funnel, like from the big picture into the reality. What are you interacting with on the day to day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you would add? The 3 actions that you would take?
Well, I think I went a little bit more specific, or just like things that hit home for me. The first one for me is finding a home for your phone, especially when you're at home. I don't think your phone lives in your pocket. Give me a good reason why your phone needs to be in your pocket at home.
I'm going to struggle.
Yeah, I don't think there's a reason for it. And being able to just plug it in, put it on a table somewhere, and like that's where it lives.
Yeah.
I think is just a huge unlock. It means you need to physically think, okay, what am I going to my phone to do before it's just there and open and you're doing something.
I loved the term you used before, FOMO, because when I think about it now, that is the only reason that we want the phone in our pocket is the FOMO, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you want to feel, you have this innate desire to feel connected all the time.
Yeah.
And to have it, and I mean, it's an amazing technology. Like,
yeah, it is.
It gives you so much dopamine. It's just like, why would you not want it right there?
Yeah.
You know, there's a million reasons why you want it there, but none of them are reasons that you wanted action.
Yeah.
So that was a big one for me. I mean, the second one we kind of talked about as well, but visually remind yourself of your goals and your progress.
Yeah.
Like this is just a huge one that's such a set and forget in your environment. And I think for me, progress and seeing the progress has been such a huge unlock for how I feel about my day-to-day actions.
Yeah.
Because like in the moment you can tell yourself, you know, these are the 3 things I want to do moving forward. They're the right things. They're making progress.
Yeah.
But if I don't get reminders that I am making progress, it's very easy for me to slip away and revert to bad habits. So visualizing the progress that's being made and making it as small as possible, like just little things, you know. Did I take my creatine this morning? Like you just get a tick on the board, get the ball rolling at the start of the day.
And you're ticking, your whiteboard is a bunch of ticks, isn't it?
I'm a visual person, so
I like
it's
that.
got to be, you know, Monday AM PM, you're ticking things off. You can see the progress accumulating, you know,
Yeah.
and having different time horizons on that too is great. Like I have like a monthly breakdown and then a weekly breakdown. You can kind of just, you see things start to build.
Nice.
And you can really, I'm a visual person, so
I like it.
maybe for you it's slightly different,
like
but
it.
I'm a big believer in visualizing that. And the last one here, a little bit Melbourne specific, but I really think that to unlock the best out of your environment, part of that is planning for when there's good weather.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like a bit of sunshine, bit of heat can drastically change how I feel about the day, the output I get out of the day.
Yeah.
I think if you can plan your life a little bit around setting yourself up in environments that you enjoy being in, that make the most of the weather that you have,
Okay.
I think naturally you'll find that things get a little bit easier.
So what would you do depending on the weather? Like how would your actions change, you think?
Well, I think about, there's lots of things that I do where I don't have to be in one specific location.
Yeah.
So let's say even at work, in the 9 to 5, if I have just a project I got to work on, I got to, punch some numbers into Excel.
Yeah.
I don't need to be connected to 3 screens with my headset on at my desk. I can go to one of the quiet rooms that has a nice view of the outside, or I know it's going to be a really nice day tomorrow. I'm going to make sure I block out an hour and go for a long walk on that day.
Yeah. Okay.
Or, it's going to be really good weather and tomorrow wasn't going to be a gym day, but I can gym outside. So, and I really enjoy gymming outside when it's good weather. So I'm going to gym tomorrow and I'm going to rejig my schedule a little bit because I had to look ahead at the weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like those are days that you remember in your week when the sun was shining and you were out enjoying it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the more of those you can create, I think you kind of like leveraging the environment that's available to you.
I like that. I guess from a dopamine rewiring perspective or positive association with certain behaviors, like if you're able to, for example, if your goal is to try and run more often and you're able to time your runs around the time when the weather is best, if the weather is better when you're running, you're probably going to receive more dopamine when you're running, which means you're going to have more positive sentiment towards running, which is going to make it easier for you to want to run more often because you're going to like it more.
Yeah.
So I guess, that does make sense.
And I mean, that's something that we've kind of done. Like when it was colder, we were like, okay, let's run in the middle of the day because that's the warmest you're going to get.
Yeah.
And now we're like, okay, let's run in the morning before it gets too hot because running at midday in like 25 degree weather is a lot more difficult and it's just, you're just enduring more pain.
Right.
Reason.
Like how do we make the goal oriented activities that we're doing as enjoyable as physically possible? Yeah. Okay. I like it. All right. Well, I think we wrap it up there. So that was the end of episode 1 of the Modern Monk podcast. We're going to move to a Q&A in the Modern Monk community. So if you're listening to this outside of the Modern Monk community, then you're missing out. But
what are you doing?
Never too late to join. You can join for free at school.com/modern monk. So thank you for watching and we'll see you there.
See you in the next one.